Hi guys, in this video we're going to have a look at simple interest. So when you accumulate money, or if you've got an income from an occupation, you're not going to put all your money under your pillow. So you can invest it in a bank and you can accrue some interest. And that's when you earn money and you lend the bank money. But if you borrow money, you'll have to pay interest to the bank. So the amount earned is actually called interest. Now, simple interest is calculated on the initial amount, whether it's borrowed or invested, and a constant amount is accrued or paid back each time period. Now, the simple interest formula is I equals PRT, or P times R times T. Some textbooks have I equals P times R times N, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a pronumeral. T is the time, or N is the number of time periods. So the P is the amount invested, or the amount borrowed. R is the interest rate as a decimal. We know how to go from a percentage to a decimal. And T is the time periods. Okay, our first question, calculate the simple interest paid on a loan. So you're borrowing $6,500. The interest rate is 7.5% per annum, which means per year. And the time period is 8 years. So I equals PRT. Looking from your question, you have to figure out that that is your P. This is nearly your R. You have to change it as a decimal. And that is your T. So P is 6,500, R is 0.075, and T equals 8. If you can't do this part in your head quickly, you can just, on your calculator, 7.5 divided by 100. You should be able to do that by moving the decimal place. So it's 7.5, 1, 2, there's a decimal place now, 0.075. Substitute into the formula. So you're multiplying those three out, and the simple interest paid on the loan is $3,900. Alright, question 2. You could pause the video and attempt this question by yourself, and then check your answer after I've done it. Okay, so the question says, Rhonda borrows $30,000 to set up her own business. She repaid the money at the end of 7 years and 3 months. And she's paying 15% every year in simple interest, and she pays the interest back every quarter, so every 3 months. How much interest does she pay quarterly? So P equals 30,000, R equals 0.15, and the time is a quarter of a year, so a quarter. I equals PRT, substitute your values. Use your calculator to do that, and that works out to be $1,125 every quarter of a year. Now we have to find out how much you paid in total, or repaid in total. So 7 years and 3 months. You have to figure out how many quarters that is. There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can do 7 times 4, which equals 28. Then add your 3, or 7 and we're talking about quarters, so 7 and 3/4, so multiply those two and then add your 3, you get 31/4. How many quarters is that? Well, then you've got your 31, so it's 31 quarters. Now I equals, this is not the formula, but this is the interest per quarter multiplied by how many quarters, and that's how much interest she paid. So $34,875. So she borrowed $30,000, she has to end up paying the $30,000 and an extra $34,000. So the total repaid is the principal plus the interest, which works out to be $64,875. You might be thinking to yourself, okay, she borrowed $30,000, but she has to pay back $64,000. that is more than double, and you're quite right, that is more than double. But if you do have $30,000, you might as well use that. But not many people have $30,000 lying around, so that's why the bank will charge a fair bit of interest. All right, question 3. What was the average rate of return? So now it's not asking you for interest, it's asking you to find out the rate. In other words, R. If 15,840 was taken out of an account when $15,000 was invested for 4 months. Pretty wordy. Pause the video, see how you go. We're going to be using equations to figure out what R will equal. And you'll need to think back to year 8 equations, how to solve linear equations to answer what R is. Okay, so we need to work out what the interest is first. So if you end up having 15,840 and you've put in $15,000, the difference will be the interest. So $840 is the interest. Using your simple interest formula, I equals PRT. So the interest is 840. The principal is how much you invested. We don't know what R is. And time is 4 months. Because we're looking at per annum, and this is not in years, that's in months, we need to convert the months into years. So 1/3 of a year is 4 months. Substitute our values. 840 equals $15,000 times R times 1/3. We can calculate 15,000 times 1/3, which is 5,000. So 840 equals 5,000 times R. So we divide both sides by 5,000 to work out what R is going to be. Use your calculator and you get a decimal. And remember, we want a percentage, so we multiply by 100. So this step here, we multiply by 100. So the average rate is 16.8%. Alright guys, thanks for watching.